so people like mingle together. So I guess this is a proof that awareness and education and talking with people and
dialogue that we missed for years.
Yes.
Well, we have here a report. Thousands of Copts continued their sit-in in front of Cairo's state television building for the 7th consecutive day. They are protesting the burning of a church in the village of Atfih ablaze last week. Meanwhile, representatives of Christian Copts held talks on Thursday with a number of the armed forces commander amid concerns over growing insecurity after deadly religious clashes. We have more details in this report.
Military authorities running Egypt and representatives of Christian Copts demonstrating in central Cairo for the 7th consecutive day held talks on Thursday amid concerns over growing insecurity after deadly religious clashes. State television announced that a dialogue has started between a group of young Copts and priests with the leaders of the army over demonstrators' claims in order to put an end to the sit-in. Bloody fighting erupted late on Tuesday in the working-class Cairo district of Al-Muqattam when Muslims confronted 1,000 Christians who had been blocking a main road in protest at the burning of a church last week. The health ministry said 13 people were killed in the clashes, and Father Boutros Rojdi of Al-Muqattam Church said at least 7 Coptic Christians were among the dead and the rest were Muslims. More than 1,000 Copts continued days of demonstrators on Thursday outside state television headquarters in Cairo to demand the rebuilding of the church torched south of the capital last week in clashes sparked by a romantic liaison between a young Christian and Muslim. The father of the Copt and the Muslim were killed in the clashes last Friday, and the church was razed the following day. The demonstrators also called for the sacking of the governor of Helwan, where the incidents happened. Meanwhile, Egypt's youth coalition, which sparked the revolt that forced Hosni Mubarak to step down on February the 11th, called on its Facebook page for a peaceful demonstration in Tahrir Square on Friday for national unity between Egyptians. The group urges people to prevent any attempt to provoke dissident or chaos.
Welcome back to our breakfast show. We have over the phone Mr. Yusuf Sidham, journalist from Al Watani newspaper. Hello.
Hello.
Good morning, Mr. Yusuf.
Morning to you all.
Well, right now we were talking about the demonstrations. Thousands of Copts, they continue to sit in front of Cairo State Television, and of course you know all this issue. And we have here a dialogue that took place between the Christian Copts and number of the armed forces commanders. So how do you read this, and how do you see it, and how to deal with this situation?
Well, luckily and comfortably enough, I wouldn't describe these demonstrations as largely Coptic, but as Egyptian, because since these started a week ago, these were not only Copts but were Muslims also, and this accentuates the national solidarity which was formed after Tahrir Square. And we all know that what they are asking for and what was stressed in the military's announcement 3 days ago, that the church which was destroyed in Atfih should be rebuilt in the same location, and I repeat and underline, in the same location, and that all the aggressors would be arrested and presented to justice, and also hundreds of families that which were kicked out of their homes should be protected and guaranteed safety back into their homes.
But people have returned back home.
Yes, I know that.
And also a decision was taken to rebuild the church.
Yes, but still the site has not successfully been evacuated because there are still Muslim families occupying the site and trying to offer another site to rebuild the church on, and announcing out loudly that this site of the church should be dedicated to build a mosque. This creates horror amidst Copts and Muslims alike, because this is an unprecedented situation.
This was the situation, but right now it is not the situation, Mr. Yusuf.
I understand, that the demonstrations said, as was said before in Tahrir Square, that we wouldn't leave except when all the promises are achieved.
Okay, Mr. Yusuf Sedham, journalist from Al Watan newspaper, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you.
So, you agree with him?
No.
I don't know, but the idea of demanding, you have demands and you want all the demands to be fulfilled just during a couple of hours, okay, but the idea is we can take it as long as you got the promise, and I know when the military armed forces will make a promise, they are going to carry it out.
You know, the difference here is when the revolution demands, okay, this I agree to, we have to stand and we want our demands met. But when we go to like different sectors' demands, no, we don't have to have all those demands met at this moment. It's not, okay, we can wait, because this is not a revolution thing. So that's why I don't agree.
We hope that we can overcome this situation. Right now we're moving on to Masri al-Yawm, and starting with the first page. Prime Minister Assam Sharaf says the internal situation is dangerous and close to the red lines. Atfih residents welcome the return of the Christians, and the Revolution Union says the Million March of the National Unity will last only for 12 hours, and this is positive. And that anybody who stay after this in Tahrir Square will not be a member of the revolution.
Yes. Let me first comment on Assam Sharaf's thing. You know that Assam Sharaf and Musa and Al-Baradei and those important figures all say that there is an internal tension and there is a counter-revolution thing happening in Egypt, and that what is happening here is not all related to Egyptians, or it's not all real. It is like staged and it is manipulated and so. So I hope that people understand this, and that makes them aware of what is happening. That makes sectarian tension be less effective, because people will understand that this is not all about, it's not all about us. You get me? So yes, the internal situation is very dangerous and there's red lines, but I guess that the police coming back to the street and this death sentence thing to the thugs, I think they will help a lot in making the situation even less, and above all, of course, the awareness of the people. This is the first thing. The second thing about this 1 million march. Well, it's fine. It shows national unity, and it just happens on Friday, and it also shows that the revolution is ongoing until everything is settled, and shows that people are aware that this
it is positive because they announced they are only going to stay for 12 hours and they will leave, and this is perfect. I mean, very well organized. Yes. Moving on to Libya. Still with Al-Masri al-Yawm, Gaddafi launches the war of burnt land and attack the oil refineries. The opposition announces that the city of Zawiya is under their control. Rebel fighters attempted to hold a position close to the Libyan oil port of Ras Lanouf on Thursday after forces loyal to leader Muammar Gaddafi pushed them out of the city with airstrikes and artillery fire.
You know what happens?
It's getting worse.
Yeah, it's always getting worse, and he's gonna fight back to the maximum, even if he wants to kill everyone. But
the last minute of his life.
Yeah, and this is really sad. And what he did yesterday, or took couples of days, when he tortured also all journalists. He wants no coverage at all. All international journalists were beaten. I think it's awful.
No one can ever guess what will happen in Libya and how it's going to end.
I still believe that these reports coming from Libya are not the real truth, because journalists are not able to do their job well there. I still believe it's somehow...
They are prevented from entering to certain
so it's
places.
not very accurate, I guess. I think it may be worse.
Still with the third page, or with Al-Masri al-Yawm, we have Said al-Badawi, head of Al-Wafd opposition party, says the presidential candidate of the party is a surprise and his name is to be unveiled in 2 weeks. Hidden hands play with the nation's security and plan seditions to make Egyptians feel nostalgia for the ousted regime.
Okay. Again, Said al-Badawi agrees with what I have said before, that there is hidden hands and there is counter-revolution thing. But well, I don't know. I don't think people are ready now for a candidate from Wafd party. I don't think, because what the Wafd have been doing the past years gave the
Parties
feeling
were not active during the past years, in general, not only in West.
And he showed
be
alliance.
fair.
Somehow he showed, or the media showed alliance between him and the government and the old regime. You know that. So to that, I don't think people believe them as before. They don't trust them as before. I don't think that a candidate from the left party can